Today's topic is 10 tips for better results with Facebook ads. And if you don't have a budget for paid ads, these principles are going to apply to a number of different areas. But this is really specifically for Facebook ads. And why am I talking about Facebook ads? Why do I think that's valuable for all of us? One thing is that it's been proven to be a highly effective methodology, and there's a lot of variables that we can use and tweak and change and split test and get it so it's not an expense for our business, but get it to be a fantastic investment. So let's say you put $50, $100, $200 into Facebook ads and you get, $1,000, $2,000 out. That's what we're really targeting. And that's why I'm covering these points today. But as you'll see, these points can apply to a lot of different marketing, advertising tactics. The first tip is using relevant, high quality images. Venice, you probably know this, but because you're such an expert in brain function, our brains process images 60,000 times faster than text. So I guess that's that saying a picture is worth 1,000 words is really relevant here. So it makes your ads more effective. It also adds more emotion. I said relevant, high quality images. So the high quality means that it's clear, it's not pixelated. Relevant means it's either you're relating to what the client wants or the problem that you're solving. Now, this image here is clear, it's professional, and it indicates, getting leads, getting likes. So what do Facebook ads do? You can get more likes, you can get more traffic, you can actually send people to your shop. There's all kinds of different objectives. But what this image is missing is really an emotional element. There's no puppy, there's no little baby or whatever will elicit the emotion. So keep that in mind. The other thing that relevant high quality images do is they're remembered longer. People remember a great image for a few days. My go-to place for, well, I'll make an admission. I stole this image off of Google. If you're going to do this online and do a real Facebook ad or put it on your website, make sure that you have licensed images. So I like Big Stock Photo. I think they have a great selection, professional images, and you can get images, licensed images that you can download over and over again for somewhere in the $1 to $2 per image range. One thing I'll say about bigstockphoto.com is, like everybody else, they're trying to get recurring income, and they'll try to get you to sign up for a monthly package. If you're not a web designer or not in a marketing agency, you probably don't need a subscription. So scroll down to the very bottom of the page and it'll say more options. And then that's where you can buy a certain number of credits. And the credits only last a year. So there's better deals the more credits you buy per credit or per image. And you use credits, you can have small, medium, large images. So I recommend only buying images just big enough to be clear on the website. Don't high resolution images just take longer to load and slow down your website. Any questions on images?
Is there a formula, Jim, as to size or DPI or whatever they are?
Yeah, there's pixels, there's BPI. I don't use a formula for certain things. you know, like if you're doing a background for your LinkedIn, you know, there's going to be so many pixels by so many pixels, X and Y axis, to get the image to be the exact right size for certain platforms. But for a website, I just open the image, and it visually, I'll say, how big do I want it on the website? And I'll shrink it down to just slightly bigger than that size. And that way it's crystal clear and it loads as fast as possible without bogging down your website.
Thank you.
That's how I do it. Sure. Great question. The next one.
Is there, oh, sorry,
ahead.
Jim. Would you recommend any, like the free stock pictures, or is that just something that you might not be able to use on a website, or where you're making a profit, or how do those work? Because I know
well, even with Google search, you can go into the details and get licensed images. The selection sucks. So if you can find good images on Free Stock Photo or wherever else, as long as they're licensed and you have permission, then you're fine. Just watch for the small print where sometimes you can use people's images, but then you have to give credit.
right.
You know, as a professional web designer, I like Big Stock Photo. It's very reasonable, and I don't have to worry at all. Way back in the day, you know, I did a website for my dad and borrowed some images and he got a letter from somebody's lawyer, and you know, you probably heard stories like that, but they literally ask licensing an image individually, like individual licensing to to have an image can cost hundreds or thousands of dollars. So they'll try to sue for that much. Usually if you remove the image right away, you can stay out of trouble, but I'd just like to do it proactively. Yeah, but if you can get licensed images for free and the quality's good, great. And it's relevant and it has an emotional element, fantastic. Excellent. Now, simple language doesn't mean condescending. I often use, you know, 3rd, 5th, 8th grade English. It just means don't use jargon. Don't use fancy words that the majority of your target market won't know. If your target market is highly educated, then, you know, really all ads are about knowing your target market. And it's just make it clear, make it easy to understand. No jargon. If you use acronyms, spell them out. And then there's 3 main things that you want. What are you offering? What are the benefits? And what should they do? I'll repeat that I can tell people are taking notes. What are you offering? What are the benefits? And what do they need to do? All right. The next one is number 3, capture their attention. And we need to capture their attention fast. So what's my mentor, when he talks about marketing copy or ads, he talks about the big idea. And I recently helped a client come up with a big idea. She does what's called ADUs. And an ADU is an accessory or additional dwelling unit. So it's like an in-law or a cottage or I don't know what else you call them. But in this case, you want to, from the simple language perspective, you want to use in-law, or do you need extra space, or do you have a college kid that's moving home? So the clear language is, but how do you grab their attention? Well, she uses the building panels called SIPs, structural integrated panel systems. So again, you don't want to use the jargon, but how are you going to grab their attention fast? Do you need additional space? and you're concerned about cost and permitting. So it's almost like a headline or a question. But the bottom line is, by working with her, you go through permitting faster, your construction costs are lower, there's more insulation factor, so it's better for the planet and for your energy bill. So boom, boom, boom. How can you use, and you take one of those things and make that the big idea. What's the biggest pain point? Most people, it's permitting, and we're like, don't worry, we got this. We're the town is looking and helping people that want additional space, and especially if you use these construction materials. Or you start with, do you need additional space in your house and you're worried about the price of wood doubling over the last couple of months? Mm-hmm. Now people can relate to that, right? So caption their attention fast. In 2018, our average attention span was 12 seconds. Guess what it was in 2020?
5.
Yep, you're close. 8. It's probably 5 now after COVID. Goldfish have 9 seconds. Oh my goodness. So create urgency. Keep your text short. Have a really clear call to action. The other thing that's kind of related to this, and it falls into many of these buckets I'm going to cover today, is check your ads on your mobile device. And if you're doing a Facebook ad, there's a way to preview your ad on mobile built into the system. But just keep that in mind. And keep it in mind from a, are you going to use portrait or landscape perspective when you're designing your image and your text. And this next one I love. And I'm going to give credit for this to Louie, Louie Bischoff, Bischoff. But I have this beautiful infographic. Isn't this cool? Like, I'm not a graphic designer. I have a decent eye once something's already designed. Or if something really sucks, I can help. But this was so helpful. So you have the different colors. What do they mean? And Susan Jansen with her website, How to Be Happier. We used this optimism, yellow, orange, red. It was more yellow, orange, though, the glowing, the sunflowers, smiley faces. So that was fantastic. So I didn't know that orange was friendly. Who knew that? And excitement, youthful, bold. And you want to remember, like a bright yellow, not this golden yellow, and red are warning colorations. So, be careful with the use of those. But creative, trust, peaceful. This gray, I didn't even think about this, like how boring, but it's neutral, calm, balance. So this is great to think about in your ads. And again, target the emotions of your audience. What do you want them to feel? So Facebook has blue. UPS is what? Anybody? UPS? Even their outfits are brown. Their trucks are brown. Like, that's branding right there. Netflix is red. Any questions on this? When I do the recording, I'll send out this document as a link for y'all. I love it. And then 5 is video. Probably 5 should be number 1. Says it's so important. You get at least 2 times as many clicks with a video as an image. Now, some of the research I did was pretty surprising. A lot of people recommend on Facebook, people are scrolling so flippin' fast. They recommend 15-second videos. And you'll be surprised. Like we moved our BNI networking group, business networking group infomercial down to 45 seconds from a minute. But I was in a group where we had 20 seconds. So you can get a lot of information in 15-second video. The key to when you're writing your script for your video is to use the inverted pyramid. So what does that mean? You have this inverted pyramid. It means that in the first 3 seconds, you have your most important information. So you just cram pack your most important information up front and then get down so they know what you do, what's in it for them. They have a clear call to action, and then there's a button for them to take that action. The other thing to remember, for web, I always use a horizontal filming aspect, but for mobile and for Facebook ads, and I think even Instagram ads, you'll want to do it vertically. And so in some cases, you may have to record the video twice with 2 different aspects to have it look good. You know, say if you want it on your website or YouTube ads, it's going to be vertical. I'm sorry, horizontal. So really feature your brand, your product, and what's in it for them early.
Can you just repeat that to make sure we've got it correctly? So horizontally for web and YouTube?
Correct.
Thank you.
And then Instagram, Facebook would be vertical. So before you film, just take a look. Yeah, I think that's all I had on video. Any questions on video? Any tips?
So I usually go with like that 3-second rule for a lot of my stuff, but making it into 15, you mentioned the first 3 seconds would be to get your information across. And then for the next 12, are you getting into the touchy-feely stuff for the next 12? Or
what do you mean by touchy-feely stuff?
Grabbing their attention, a kitten or a puppy or, you know, a kid, is that where the...
You can use a series of infographics, or you can be a talking head. And with the infographics, you would have the text, kind of like what I'm doing here. I have limited text, but then I expand a little more. And I really think the model is grab their attention, feature your brand or product, and then what's in it for them and how can they get it? How can they get started?
So their call to action.
Mm-hmm. And in Facebook ads, I think I'll go into this, but you can have a call to action button in a few different places. Okay. So again, this infographic is really why are we doing these 10 things? What's in it for you? Nobody wants to pay Facebook a bunch of money and not get more business. So that's why we're doing this. And return on investment is simply profit over the cost of your investment. One thing to remember is if you get, let's say you spend $100 and you get $200 in business. Now, half of that gross income, $200, is already taken away. So you want to figure in your fixed costs, your variable costs, and have the marketing. That's why I said, you know, like a 10-fold return on investment would be more reasonable, because then your marketing expense only cuts into, you know, 10% of your gross revenue. Again, number 6, be concise. Less is more. So less text, be concise. I am a huge fan of adjectives. Adjectives build emotion, and you can add one word as a modifier. So don't go too far so that it's dry and bereft of emotion and juice. But you can do a lot with 5 to 7 words. And if there's too much text, 2 things are going to happen. People are going to bounce, and your ad may not be accepted on Facebook. So a rule of thumb would be, if you look at text from a geographic perspective on an infographic, it would be 20% or less of the visual space. So that really shows the value of choosing a good image. And again, we're working with Goldfish here, people. We got to grab their attention and convince them. Build curiosity is the best thing. And the other thing is, part of less is more is having a call to action that's less threatening. Studies have shown that add to cart is less threatening and gets more clicks than buy now. You know, there's a small percentage of the population that's ready to buy, and they don't want to spend any more time learning. They just want to buy, and they're going to click buy now. So those people are hot, but they're a small percentage of the population. Learn more is also a non-threatening call to action. And this is a really fun thing. Tell your story. You can tell your story in a video, or Facebook has a feature. It's called carousel ad. And so it's kind of between an image and a video. And so you can pick multiple images with multiple text and multiple calls to action and have them run in a series. And like I said, I spent about a half hour in the bowels of Facebook ad land this morning, and was able to create, and I saw exactly where you can set up the carousel ad. I also thought you guys might want to know how to do that. And this was before I actually experimented with it. So if you go to facebook.com/business/help, that's a great resource for any of these technical things as you're figuring this out. And if there's enough interest from you guys, in one of our next upcoming group coachings, I can go through the actual creation of an ad with you guys and explain each of the parts. So if we want to go to that level of detail, we won't have time today. But the Googling, so I heard about this tip and I'm like, wow, that's super cool. What do you want to use this for? You want to use it for product benefits. If you have multiple benefits, you can have features, but really lean towards the benefits. But if there's feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, you could do this carousel ad with multiple images and do feature 1 benefits, feature 2 benefits, feature 3 benefits. You could tell a story. You could have multiple landing pages or offers, if that makes sense as well. Or explain a process. And it really breaks it down into these manageable chunks and keeps people's attention longer. The two things, if you choose type of ad and you want to do this carousel ad, you can't choose engagement. And engagement means you're trying to get more likes, more shares, etc. And you can't choose video views. And that's kind of obvious. But all the other options that you choose, you'll have this carousel ad option. And then we've talked about the CTA, which is call to action. I know I've talked about multiple landing pages and offers. Sometimes that can work, but that's for the carousel. So each carousel image has only one call to action, but you could use multiple calls to action. If you have one page and people have one call to action versus 3 calls to action, when there's 3 calls to action, you're going to get less clicks because people are confused. They don't know where to start. They bounce. So one call to action is have it one call to action, have it be clear. We talked about really limiting any risk to them. One thing I like the learn more option that goes to a capture page on your website. Now you're getting people to come to your website. They can learn more. Like, you can only put so much on a Facebook ad, but when they go to your landing page, they can see, oh, wow, I get this, this, and this. I get a free giveaway on how to proven tips on how to build your business profits for free. I'm in. That was the ad that I created today to get some more interest and build the group coaching. And I also mentioned that with a Facebook ad, you can have your call to action button 1, 2, or 3 times. In a landing page, you can do the same thing. Right up top for those people that are ready to go. In the middle for people who need a little more information. And for those analytics that need all the details, put it at the bottom. The next tip is the headline. So who has heard the stories about newspaper editors? How much time do they spend on the article and how much time do they spend on the headline? And it's about 50-50. You want to grab their attention. You want to build curiosity. I like headlines that make bold statements. Some people are afraid to make a bold statement. And if you fall into that trap, like if I promise you work with me one-on-one in business coaching and I'll help you build your business profitability by 50%, that's a bold statement. And does that work for everybody? No. There's things that are not in my control. So I can have a bold statement, but down below have a caveat. You know, I'm looking for people that are go-getters. They're willing to get out of their comfort zone. They're open-minded. They're willing to try new things and they do their homework. And every time I've worked with a client like that, they have gotten those kind of results. So you can make a bold statement and have it be conditional. I still love Got Milk, and all kinds of people have borrowed that, plagiarized it, and or Nike, just do it. So bold statements, powerful questions. I think building curiosity. It's almost like these Netflix. How many people have gotten hooked on a Netflix series? They always have this cliffhanger at the end, and there's no way you're not going to watch the next image. And it's like midnight and you have to get up at 6:30. Like, are you kidding me? So watch the media, look for ads, look for, you know, the news. They're like, you know, the president showed his underwear today, news at 11. And you may or may not care about that, but just a silly example of how they throw out these snippets. And it's 9 o'clock and you usually go to bed at 10, but they somehow get you to stay up till 11 to watch the news. So that's the value in some of the highlights. And if you can, I've used the acronym USP. And so unique selling proposition. I also use what's unique, special, different, and better about your business. And I saw this new acronym this morning, UVP, Unique Value Proposition. So what's in it for them? What problem can you solve? What dream or goal or desire can you help them get? So that's the headline. And then
Jim, what was the second one? There was unique selling proposition. What was number 2?
oh, then yeah, I said that really quickly. Thank you. What's unique, special, different, or better about you, your products, your services than the competition? Like truly better. A lot of people use what's called platitudes. They're like, yeah, we have a combined 147 years of experience. We have great customer service, blah, blah, blah. So what's truly different? And your competition doesn't have to be, people that are selling the exact same thing. It's where else would people go to get the results, benefits, and emotions that they could get from you. And yeah, I love this acronym, UVP, Unique Value Proposition. And headlines on average can be 5 words. So somewhere in the 3 to 7 words, you can get quite a bit of information across. It's kind of like a business slogan. How can you add a lot of value with a few words? My slogan for Peak Business Coaching is unlimited profits and more free time. So it's really clear. Notice how there's the unique value proposition, there's the benefits in there. Or I could ask a question. Do you want more profits in your business? I don't know how many words that is, but it's close. Anybody else have an example that comes to mind for your business? Okay, so before we go to targeted, I wanted to show you an example.
Can't hear it.
But you could see.
Yeah.
So that was 10 seconds. And they used the 20% text with the visual images. What you didn't hear was just background music. Dun, 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 dun. So you didn't miss out on a lot of value there, but it added a little jazziness to it. I just forgot to share that video with you guys earlier.
What's interesting is that, like, if you scroll up across a Facebook ad, a lot of times the video will play, but you won't get sound right away unless you actually click the sound on. So the sound isn't really super important unless there's like words, and then even then a lot of times the words are transcribed across the bottom, so you can see what they're saying without even clicking on the actual sound of the image. So the visuals are much more important.
That's a really good point. I'm going to highlight that in my notes. The tech, add captions. That's super important. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, because a lot of times you don't want the volume on if it's late at night or whatever the scenario is. A lot of times you're not even listening to the music. You're just
Yeah. And then the super amazing thing about Facebook is you can target your audience geographically, demographically, by interests, by hobbies, by age, by sex. You can exclude certain people. You can create an audience. Like if I wanted to target people that followed Tony Robbins, I could do that. So demographics. The other thing that you can do to continually improve your ads is you can split test. You can create an ad to your website or landing page, what's called a pixel. It's just HTML code that allows Facebook to work behind the scenes, their algorithm or formula, to continuously improve the performance of your ads. Facebook is not in the business of providing a free place for us to keep up with our friends. They're in the business of selling ads. So they're going to do whatever they can to help us spend more on ads and continue to do ads. So there's a lot of features. There's even a button you can click called dynamic creative, and it'll create automatically, different relevant images or headlines or calls to action, and kind of test those behind the scenes, not behind the scenes to your target market, but behind the scenes to you, and improve it over time.
I find the surveys work really well too.
Oh, that's a good point. Can you say more about that?
People will, the color of the dress, was it gold or green kind of thing. And from that, you're getting new people to follow you, and then you can add them and stuff into your database, into your link. So people are putting on there right now, should I go to Wendy's or Arby's for dinner? And just by you choosing, you now see more of their ads because you've chosen to participate in the survey.
Okay, gotcha. And then the other thing I've done is, or I've seen people do is, which logo do you like? Or you could say which image or which headline do you like? And people love when they pipe in and they make comments and suggestions or vote for number 1 through 4. The post is going to last longer. You can get more interactions and you get feedback. One thing to be careful of is, I've seen, and I've done this personally, I've done it on my personal page, not necessarily to my target demographic. And so I'm getting feedback from people, many people that work in jobs, or they're retired, or, like my aunt, my mom, like friends who work in jobs. They're not entrepreneurs. So just remember to consider the source in where you're getting feedback. But the survey option is fantastic. And there's a bunch of different ways. Like I said, you can get more interaction. You can get more likes, get more views. You can build your list. You can go directly to a shop. There's so many different options. And again, I'll send this out in my email when I edit this video, but you can go to facebook.com/ads manager /manage/campaigns. And that's where you can get started and just go step by step through this whole process. But I recommend having really brief ad copy, really, effective headline, and a few images that you could try out before going into the campaign manager. But really, it's every place where you can make a choice or add information or select demographics. There's a little blue eye information button that you can just roll your mouse over, and it explains step by step exactly what to do. So I found it to be really helpful.